Hello Orchid friends, welcome back to my channel. Wherever you are, I hope you're having a great day, staying healthy and staying safe. Today we're going to look at my Phalaenopsis bellina alba. This video is this orchid's debut video ever in my channel. Why? Because I have had this orchid for many years since it was a very small young plant. And it never bloomed until this time around. I purchased it on eBay for $15. It was a very small plant. At that time, I knew I wanted to get a bellina alba so bad, but I didn't want to spend $50, $60, or even $70 to buy a big plant, a big mature flowering plant. So I went cheap and I went on to eBay, got myself a $15 seedling. So it took me, almost 4 years, believe it or not, to bloom this orchid. And this orchid also went through a lot, and it wasn't until this method, this moss no drainage hole method, that it started to really put out new leaf and new roots. So there we go. This orchid is now in bloom. So this time around, this orchid gave me 3 flowers total, which is actually a very nice big surprise. Typically for a young plant like this, and for my other species orchids, if they, if it's their first blooming cycle, usually they give you like 1 flower, right? Just to give you a taste of what the flower looks like. Like my Violacea caerulea, that one, 1 flower, done. But this one, actually, it's such an overachiever. It gives me 3 bloom this time on the same flower spike. So that was a very, very nice surprise. This orchid is super fragrant, and the smell is very similar to the regular cultivar, typical, most common cultivar of bellina. I can't tell if actually I don't remember if it smelled any different than regular bellina, but I can tell you I love its color, or the lack of color. The lip itself is pure white, and then the flower, the petals and sepals has that white center, but then have that radiant yellow around the edge, and then the back of the flower even has that green color to it. So the whole thing, and even if you just put some light behind the flower, you get to see the light going through the flower. The entire flower just looks so pristine, has that pristine look to it, which I love. And that was one of the reasons why I wanted this orchid. As soon as I learned about it, I was like, I have to get one someday. So obviously it's a sequential bloomer. I don't know if the original spike will continue, because after all, it's this orchid's first bloom ever. So it's hard for me to tell if it'll keep this spike or abort it and then grow a new different spike next year. But we'll see. In terms of care, because it's in an 8-ounce cup with somewhat of okay root system, it's still growing roots, and because it's only 8-ounce cup, so I actually don't give it a lot of water. 1/8 of a cup is pretty much the amount of water I provide to this orchid, except during summertime I would up the water level to 1/4 cup. Otherwise, spring, autumn, and winter time, it's always 1/8 of a cup, because I believe this orchid really I try to keep it dry. I was trying to play safe, because it's already taking me so long, and I really don't want to set it back with root rot issue. This orchid also gets 25% of fertilizer, so 1/4 strength, because that's what I give to most of my orchid. When this orchid first came to me, it was in a very small square container with just a few bark chips inside as medium. I waited for a whole year before I repot that orchid, because it was so small, and I was thinking, I don't know if my repot would set it back even further. So I waited for 1 year, and then after that, I can't remember if I used any other method. I don't think I did, and then I put it in this moss no drainage hole method, and it just started to pick up with lots of root production, and then growing new leaf, new roots, and boom, here we are. But still, all in all, I think it took me about 4 years, because I've had this orchid. I'm pretty much sure that I have had this orchid since when I was living in New York. So that's at least 3.5, 4 years ago. Okay, so this is the third bud. The third flower, took a bit of time, because the first two flowers I could kind of see them, having a little bit of overlap. But then the third one, it was actually a few days after the second flower drop that it started to put out a new bud. So I was really happy. So I grabbed my camera and took a bunch of photos for this video. When this orchid was in bud, I did not move this orchid at all, because I did not want this orchid to have any bud blast. And in my experience, movement and also temperature or humidity could all be factors that contribute to any bud blast. So if you can help it, don't move your orchid too much. Don't bother them, leave them be. And how I water this orchid, because I know the set amount of water I want to provide to this orchid, so I simply just give that amount of water and let it be. I don't have to drain it, I don't have to dump out the water, so I get to keep them where this orchid was. And coming up here, we have a couple bonus footage. This was a comparison against my wild form bellina. I have another bonus footage coming after this. That's why I kind of speed up the video clip here. This is just a different background. And here we have another bonus footage. So I have 3 bellinas I want to show you side by side, and then 3 violacea type that I want to show you, because they were all in bloom at the same time. Have some overlap anyway. It was quite festive, and that particular shelf smelled really, really good because they were all fragrant, and in the morning I could just smell them one by one by one. It was lovely. Anyway, hope you like it. This is all I have for you today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you would like to get more orchid related videos from my channel, please subscribe and turn on the notification. I want to wish you happy growing, and I will talk to you in my next video. Ciao!